Hello and welcome to another brand new day, and of course it's today in the news. My name is Precious Chukudi and I have with me my co-host
Damola Bashaki.
Alright, so we'll just move straight to the front pages of the newspaper, and on Vanguard we have APC crisis, why Buhari moved against Oshiomhole, and the riders, NEC dissolves NWC, Yobe Governor Maibani, now caretaker Convention Committee Chair. Party members to withdraw pending litigations, ratifies Iseyamo for Guba polls, NWC dissolution not targeted at Tinubu, Boni says, ex-NWC members, more legal options, APC governors, funding groups, other power blocks battle for APC, so ahead 2023. We have a photo story of Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. Other governors also represented for the NEC meeting, at briefing of APC NEC meeting. And on page 20, Edo Obaseki emerges PDP candidate to face Iseyamo. The stories above on page 10, we have Buhari, Tinubu, Fayemi, Makinde, others mourn as ex-governor Oyo Governor Ajimobi dies at 70. On page 11, COVID-19, 17 banks seek CBN's approval to restructure 32,000 loans. And on page 20, we have APC writes INEC fixes Ondo Governor primary for July 20th. On page 8, Nigeria faces worst recession in 4 decades, says World Bank. Still on page 8, Ghana pledges to restore Nigeria's diplomatic property to original state. And still on page 8, lastly on the front page of Vanguard, we have COVID-19, federal government moves another lockdown as cases rise. And that's all we have on the front page of Vanguard. We move straight to the Punch newspaper.
On the front page of the Punch, we have Oshiomhole-backed National Working Committee. There's Buhari says National Executive Committee meeting illegal. APC picks Yobe Governor as caretaker head, Oyetola others as members. We are consulting our lawyers, stakeholders on next line of action. And this is coming from Satesco. And decisions not meant to whittle down Tinubu's influence, says caretaker panel chair. And you can see more of these on page 2. And on page 16, we have Edo PDP primary. Obaseki returned unopposed, faces Iseyamo in September poll. On page 41, we have police squeeze the bench over rape allegation. Flight resumption, Air Peace flies 25 empty planes to Abuja and others. Of course, details of that can find on page 23. On page 2, we have APC writes INEC fixes July 20 for Ondo governorship primary. Judge knocks EFCC over unreliable evidence, frees OAU ex VC and Bossa. Of course, you can see more of that on page 12. On page 14, we have Ogun top Southwest drug abuse charts, and this is coming from Commissioner. And the stories above, we have Ajimobi loses COVID-19 battle at 70. Buhari others mourn. Details of that can be found on page 43. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, on pages 4 and 5, we have Osh Puppy gang defrauded 1,926,400 persons, raked in 168 billion naira, and this is coming from Dubai. And that's what we have on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
And that's all we can take on the front pages of this morning newspaper. We're moving straight to the newspaper analysis segment, where we're going to be joined with the analysis segment with Mr. Shino Loremikon, who is the former director of programs committee for the defense of human rights and the current national coordinator campaign against impunity in Nigeria. We're going on a short break. When we come back, we'll be joined with him. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still today in the news, and we just finished with the front pages of the newspaper, and we're down to the newspaper analysis segment where we'll be joined by Mr. Shino Lorimikon, a former Director of Programs, Committee for Defense of Human Rights, and the current National Coordinator, Campaign Against Impunity, Nigeria. You're welcome, sir. Can you hear me, sir? You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, sir. We're moving straight to the main discourse this morning, and it's APC crisis. Why Buhari moved against Oshiomhole. If you are very familiar with what's going on in the APC party, what do you think about the NEC meeting that was held yesterday?
I want to start my remarks by recalling one of the golden words of late Ken Saruwiwa, who is a riversman. He said, "Big fish also swim." Take it or leave it, the APC is a big party in Nigeria today. And the big fish is not only swimming in troubled waters, but it also finds itself in a dilemma. I'm saying this because why the leadership of the party is to solve a problem, they are getting themselves involved into another. I was shocked when reports got to me that it was the Federal Attorney General and Minister of Justice that was swearing in the chairman of the caretaker committee. I want to ask, what is the Federal Attorney General and Minister of Justice doing at that event? And if he's a member of that party and is at that event, is he the legal national advisor of the party? And he's showing a caretaker committee of a party that is already in a crisis. I also heard that the resolution is that all litigants should withdraw their cases in court. Mindful of the fact that Obaseki has left the APC, now in PDP, how will those cases he has instituted be withdrew? He's no more a member of the APC, and you have all different sorts of persons in court in the APC, all different fractions with issues they will have resolved in-house months ago or weeks ago. And rather sad for them, one of their great pillar who was acknowledged and ruled by the court to be the acting chairman died the very day the meeting was holding in Asoro. Let me add this too. It's part of the sensation. Immediately the meeting was over in Asoro, the policemen that seized the secretariat of the party withdrew their personnel. So you want to wonder, 21 years into democratic rules, we are still behaving as if we are not Democrats. Federal Attorney General, Minister of Justice, participating in a meeting that the court is frowning out, that the court says it should not be, and not only participated in the meeting, went ahead to be swearing in the chairman of the caretaker committee. I'm told that when the foundation is faulty, the righteousness just have an opinion. The system, the structure is likely to collapse. The more things you put on it, it will become a paper bridge. Goes with the water that Ken Saruwa started with. big fish don't swim, a big fish swim in the water.
Okay, still speaking about the NEC meeting that was held yesterday, we had reports of how Victor Gaidon was saying he was going to go ahead with the meeting, and how some other factions of the party were saying that the meeting was illegal, and they eventually went ahead with the meeting yesterday, with them even disrupting the NWC, as well as there are also party insiders who were saying that the President Buhari moved against Oshiomhole because he narrowed the party to himself. What do you think of that statement?
Like I laid my foundation, it's an era of continuous shortcoming. Look at the rise of Oshiomhole, rising, and look at the fall. Even when the meeting was going on, all sorts of reports were flying right, left, and center. A national leader is coming, a national leader is not attending, whether the national leader is recognized by the Constitution or is not recognized by the Constitution. There is no politics of give and take. There are certain persons in some organizations, they may not hold elected position, but they are very influential. They cannot be ignored. They cannot be pushed aside. And politics is part of sentiment and emotion, crowned with influence. Some of the videos these characters have done, permit me to use the word character. Looking at William Shakespeare, they are all at a stage performing different roles. One scene will open, another scene will close. The spectators are watching. We are the spectators. What we are saying does not speak well of leadership in the APC and a party with the slogan change. I've not seen anything change. I'm saying imposition of personal views on group and subgroup within a political party that is a movement. In all this position, I don't know where the youths are. And they are the ready army to be mobilized for any conflict or physical engagement when all these things translate to concrete plans. Unfortunately, why APC is doing this in Edo State, the picture emerging from Ondo State is also giving a concerned person worry and sleepless nights. The scenario looks similar from the same big party. So it gives me a lot of sleepless nights that with all we have done in the First Republic, the aborted Third Republic, this Fourth Republic, this is the best we can demonstrate to our people. And the generation just approaching the voting age. How will campaign be if ticketing, primaries of parties are handled like this? If every person is approaching the court, a group of friends of mine have said the court is fastly becoming a ShopRite when you go and get injunction or purchase the injunction.
Okay, sorry to cut you off. Yesterday it was announced that the former governor of Oyo State, that's Senator Abiola Ajimobi, he died at the age of 70. And when he was actually announced, talked about it being also the same day that the NEC meeting held. How do you think that these will actually affect APC's death? How do you think it will affect APC?
It will, because he's a great mobilizer and a strategic conflict resolution fellow. You will recall that he has the exceptional privilege of being a senator and transforming to a governor and ruling Oyo State on 2 terms, which is unprecedented. It's a great loss that he died when his party needed him most. But it's a reality, it's a testimony of reality that what is to be done in the morning, we should not postpone it to the afternoon. Immediately, Obaseki and Oshiomhole have been having conflicts. If the inner caucus has called them to order, they will not find themselves in this situation that is messy.
All right, so let's move on to Obaseki and what's happening in Edo State. And before now, we saw Imasu Agbon and Ogbede Yama saying they were going to move on with the elections and try to win. But now they've stepped down for him. What do you think what's your take on that one?
For people like me and like minds who are familiar with the local politics of their society, in anything you do, it is the people that matters. I'm made to understand that it was Oshiomhole that promoted the deputy governor of Edo State. And at the time, they could not comprehend themselves. Unfortunately, while Oshiomhole and the deputy could not comprehend themselves, the deputy and the governor were understanding themselves deeper and deeper. To the extent that on the eve of their departure in the party, both the governor and the deputy went with a numerous crowd to another rival opposition party. It speaks a lot. I also know that Obaseki has given impression as if he really wants to serve the people of Edo State. That impression looks cosmetics. But how cosmetics it may be, people are saying that this one, since he became governor, he never built another house.
You spoke about cosmetics. Can you expatiate on what you mean by cosmetics?
Okay. I cannot see, if you want to compare the sort of development Ambrose Ali gave the whole Benin State, it's more selfless. And he had more time for governance than Obaseki, who is always running from Benin Ring Road to Abuja Soro, down to Port Harcourt to see Wike, and also fighting members of the State House of Assembly. He's been confronted with huge distraction, despite his good intention to render services, unlike Ambrose Ali, who was more coordinated, more focused, and was able to deliver self-service to his. Interestingly, I'm saying that as of today, an average Edo person is still saying this one, that's Obaseki, with all due respect. He never built another house. Still the house where comrade build. Comrade get money, then they do foreign investment. Comrade to invest, he go bring Oyibo come as wife. You don't see woman marry for Edo. You can say they are petty. Unfortunately, it is these people we look as petty-minded, underdogs, have not, who on the day of election defer the rain, the sun to come and cast their vote. The elites, the polished one, the educated, the enlightened, the comfortable, on the day of election, we put on their telly. If they are watching NTA, you should be extremely lucky. If they are on AIT, you should thank your star. They will be on cable watching CNN, BBC, to mention for this.
Okay, now away from that, now let's move over to COVID-19 updates. So the chairman of PTF, that's the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, that Boss Mustafa says, considering the increasing cases of COVID-19 cases in the country, that it won't be out of place to lock down Nigeria the second time. What do you think about this statement?
It's also what I call a strengthening dilemma. Strengthening dilemma in the sense that on the part of the government, what has been done so far, what is to be done is left unattended to. As a matter of fact, Taraba State is still crying that they don't have a laboratory or a testing center, that they have to take samples of suspected victims to Abuja. One would have expected that every state should have a center where tests can be done. When you compare our population, we are still struggling to get 8.5%, 9% to be tested. That's on the part of the government. When the first lockdown was done, palliative were nowhere to be found. So we want to go back to it again, a dilemma. And truly, the case file is increasing in pages, in faces of victims. You also find out that even when we are urging other openings, the people are still far away to the science of arresting the coronavirus, i.e. putting on nose or mouth masks. In many cities in the country, people are moving freely as if it's as business as usual. I live in Lagos. There is no time I put my eyes on the BLT corridor, BLT terminals, and I don't find people ignoring the safety code.
Okay, now.
Close marking.
Okay, this.
If you go to the banks, you see everybody coming as if that is the central bank. I want to collect I want to conduct my transaction without regard for safety measures.
Now, there's actually, over the week now, there have been different reports that Nigerians are really violating, the safety protocols. But this morning now, there was an article that says that described Nigerian politicians as serial violators of safety protocols during this governorship election in Ondo and Edo. So what do you have to say about this?
You see, the issue is this: the more you look, the more persons you are asked to look at an elephant and describe what they have seen, you will be getting different descriptions. I got a report yesterday of elites and big wig of the society that have violated aviation code. Okay. It's embarrassing. So if you are talking of politicians at party events, they are violating the code. Leave them. Go to the banking sector, they are violating the code. Go to the aviation sector, they are violating the code. Almost every week, all sorts of flight comes in and out of Nigeria without any respect to the safety code that we have adopted. So it's where you stand. What you want to see is what you see. It's what you know that you will know. If the more you want to see beyond what you are supposed to see, you will have a bleeding heart.
All right, let's move straight to this one that has been all over the social media and also the front pages of the newspaper. and it's about hush puppy defrauds 1,926,400 persons. And we keep hearing of how some of these Nigerians who go out there are making life harder for all the Nigerians who are coming or leaving the country for how they say greener pasture. What's your take on this one, sir?
I think it was my uncle that told me the story of the first encounter of Nigerians with slave merchants. He said when the ship came to the water bank, everybody that saw the ship ran away, that we don't want to leave our soil. But today, if an empty vessel comes to Apapa port or Port Harcourt port, Nigerians are ready to pay to board the ship and to get themselves out of this country, thinking that life outside Nigeria is close to life in heaven. And that brings a lot of challenges to the government. I want to ask myself, do you blame them? You approach a bank that you want to open an account. You see how rigorous and how stressful it is just to open a bank account. Approach the driver's licensing offices that you want to renew a driver's license. I'm not saying fresh application. You will find yourself being frustrated. As I'm speaking to you today, there are still many schools, primary and secondary, in this land that does not have a convenience, a restroom, what is popularly called toilet. There are still many public schools in this land that does not have a fence talkless of the gates in the 21st century. If you leave the school and you go to the educational sector, it has been exposed with the coronavirus crisis that we are far away to minimum standard of rendering medical services promptly, efficiently to our citizens. General Sholan Williams, retired, is one of my highly respected colleagues. I'm not a military man, but we do a lot together in the civil society. General Williams says if you want to commit suicide, you should make effort to say you want to jog on the Nigerian road. The roads are not comfortable for any person who wants to jog. It does not end there. If you go to what the nature has given us, beautiful beaches, we have numerous of it in Lagos. They are high soil, full of waste items that can shorten the life of marine culture, and nobody is doing anything about it. So if by chance you have a friend, a cousin who is outside the country and is telling you that there are countries where you can just put your hand on the wall and there will be lights, you can just open the tap and there will be water. You don't need to run a generator for 6 hours. You get to the bus stop, buses are moving people at an agreed time, advertised and known to all. Buses are not shouting no shojo, mushi, but they are going by numbers. You want to leave Nigeria and go and see what is happening in that country. If you get there, you don't want to come back. Even when you are told your parents are dead, tell them, let the dead bury the dead. Leave me, I'm comfortable where I am.
All right, thank you so much for your opinions on the analysis segment. And that was Gino Loremikon, former Director of Programs Committee for the Defense of Human Rights and current National Coordinator, Campaign Against Impunity in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on the show. We'll go on a very quick break.
Next weekend.
We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss sport. All right, welcome back, and we just want to discuss a little bit on sports and Liverpool are England's 2019-2020 league champion. I remember yesterday how I saw some Chelsea fans praying, "Oh, Chelsea must win so that Liverpool carry it." What do you think about this one?
It was actually I don't know how to say it. It's something that we've been looking forward to. That we know that yes, it's going to happen, but we didn't know that it was going to happen yesterday. Nobody predicted that Chelsea was going to win the match yesterday. So it was really a very very happy moment and fun moment for Liverpool fans, considering that even without them, with the games being played behind closed doors and fans not being allowed to the fields and stadium, we still had people going there, to celebrate Liverpool for actually getting the cup yesterday. So it was really great, and we are still looking forward to the other matches that are coming up. Of course, that's not the end of Premier League.
All right, so let's just take Mr. and Mrs. This is from Mrs. She says, "I know you like corn, but don't tell me you finished a big bowl of roasted corn." And Mr. says, "I just did." And Mrs. says, "My God, what's in your stomach now? Now is concrete." I'm talking about this "don't leave me" challenge, and what people say, and they use one word and they made it another word to make sense. I think that's what they just did here. All right, that's all we have for you on program this morning, today in the news. Remember that you can equally like, share, subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on the screen. And if you want to get more of our top stories, you need to go right now on our website www.vanguardndr.com to find out more on what's happening in the country and keep yourself abreast of what's going on around you. Till I come your way next time, I am Precious Chukudi, and I have with me my co-host
Damnola Ogunshake.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you enjoy a very good weekend and stay relaxed and stay refreshed in the weekend.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.